What's up, everybody? David Feldman-Makrias, and what I want to talk about today is what is Google trying to sell us advertisers and businesses in 2024. So I am looking at right now the Kickstart Q1 2024 PDF brought to you in part by Google representatives. So we are looking at this document, and it was shared to me with a Google rep that is specifically for an e-commerce account. And I thought it was interesting to at least go through because we can, designate exactly what we need to look into, what is real, meaning like what we should really pay attention to, other things that we maybe don't need to pay attention to, or just define as, okay, that's what Google's trying to sell us. So without further ado, let's do it. This link is actually, the link to this PDF is in the description of this video. So if you'd like to see it for yourself, feel free. And build a strong foundation now for sustained success in 2024. All right, let's go through it one by one. Activate optimization opportunities. Leverage Optiscore to uncover bid and budget opportunities to scale based on your AI-powered recommendations. So what is Optiscore? So Optiscore, if we open this link, this is probably just whatever like the optimization score is. Now this optimization score is actually in the campaign window, and it's, you know what, I should probably show you an example. Okay, so here we have an example of the Optiscore. This is, or short for optimization score. Currently, I'm not in any campaign. I am in recommendations under the Google Ads account, and you can see the overall account has a 90.6% Optiscore. It went down a little bit. It's decreased over the past week. Notice that Optiscores, they pretty much get adjusted, and there's things to do every single week. Now, again, like I've stated, most of these recommendations I feel as though are very budget related, meaning there's all these different mechanisms that we can adjust, but it's Google inadvertently saying, hey, raise your budget. So like this one's very, very blatant. Raise your budgets. Your ad stop running on your busiest days. Fixing your limited budget can help. Now, for certain campaigns, we may want to do that. For other campaigns, we may not necessarily want to do that. That's why it's important to review all the recommendations there. This one here, set a target ROAS to capture upcoming traffic. So again, that's actually a solid recommendation. If you don't have a bid limit or a smart bidding strategy bid limit, then setting a bid limit, such as a target ROAS or a target CPA, might actually help your campaigns. Now, this one here, adjust your budgets, get more conversions, blah, blah, blah. Get more conversion value by adjusting your budgets in your maximized conversion value. So this is probably going to say, okay, you need to increase your budget. So these two are pretty like hand in hand as far as, blatantly telling you to increase your budget. But there are other ones too within the Optiscore that inadvertently tell you to, increase your budget, but don't say it directly. So this one here, adding broad match keywords. Adding broad match keywords, so it says get more conversions at a similar or better ROI by adding broad match versions of your existing keywords. So broad match, especially over the last 6 months, has definitely improved. It never used to be as good as it is now. So I do recommend experimenting with broad match. But I have my own way of experimenting with broad match. I prefer to keep it in a separate campaign. When you do that, you can allocate a specific budget towards those broad match keywords, and that way they don't take up all of the budget for your phrase and exact match keywords. So that's one little micro strategy there, but oftentimes adding broad match keywords, if you have budget restrictions or you're trying to be as cost effective as possible, may not be the best recommendation for you. So that's another little ancillary recommendation of this Optiscore that Google is saying, hey, you should do this, but you're going to increase your spend on Google Ads when you do. Other ones that I can think of is adding in networks, increasing your location targeting, and other settings like that. And there's a lot of them in the Optiscore. Now, again, I shouldn't just say the Optiscore will give you good recommendations too, like adding smart bid strategy limits or adding lead forms on specific campaigns. It is good to go through. It is good to keep your Optiscore above a 90%. And one thing you can do is, like, let's say that this wasn't applicable to me. I can come in here, I can hit dismiss all, and the reason I'm going to hit dismiss all is just another reason. You can fill out whatever one you want. There's no penalty for not. So notice now when I dismiss that, my Optiscore actually went up by about 3+%. So now I can see, okay, once you go through this, you don't have to apply every recommendation to make sure your Optiscore is up. It's just an overall checklist to make sure you're doing the things that Google suggests that are right with the account. All right, so now we'll go back to the Q1 2024 Google Ads sheet so we can see some of the other items. So let's go back here. Optiscore is something to pay attention to for sure, and it should be gone through periodically. Is there an ideal Optiscore? I mean, I always try and keep mine at 100%. Anywhere from 85 to 100% is good. That just means you went through the list, but you'll see a lot of the things repeat and repeat. So let's go to the second one. Use auto apply recommendations to save time on the optimizations you select to keep up your performance. I actually have a full video. I might have 2 videos on auto apply recommendations, when to use them, when to not use them. I'll have them linked up in the video at this point right now. And in that video, or in those videos, I go through when to use certain auto applies, why you should, why you shouldn't, so on and so forth. A vast majority of auto applied recommendations I do not agree with. So there are a few, like only like 2 or 3. But I definitely, your Google representative, if you have one, will want to push this feature, because that's basically saying, okay, Google's going to make all these recommendations and changes for you. A lot of them have to do with bid and budget. You may not want to do that, right? You may not want to do that. So actually, I would advise against it. So definitely know where this is beyond be aware of it, but I don't recommend to use auto apply recommendations in a vast majority of cases. Okay, next, drive business impact and growth. Opt into smart bidding strategies to improve performance through AI and performance controls during our busiest times. Smart bidding, so let's see. It's going to give me about smart bidding article. It does smart bidding strategies with maximized conversions, target CPA, maximize conversion value. I mean, absolutely, positively, yes. You have to use smart bidding at this point, because this is correct. You want to leverage AI. You want to leverage Google's machine learning and all of its data algorithms. I don't know of too many Google Ads accounts anymore using non-smart bidding strategies. We don't run really any ourselves. The most non-smart bidding is maximize clicks. There is still enhanced CPC around, but I don't use it as much anymore. Playing with smart bidding strategies definitely helps, but knowing when to utilize smart bidding strategies on which application is really impactful. So if you want to obtain more conversions, you want to do max conversions. If you want to obtain more revenue, you want to use maximize conversion value. But there's even nuances within that. Like, that's pretty simple, right? But knowing when to apply a target ROAS, knowing when to apply a target CPA, knowing when to raise and lower, knowing how often to raise and lower, knowing all of these different ideas of how to test and really get super granular with it, that's where that's where the art of Google Ads and placing these smart bidding optimizations really comes into its stride. So what does this else say? It uses Performance Max a couple times in here. So yeah, Performance Max, yeah, it shows a lot more conversions, shows a lot more revenue. That's basically what this is saying. Performance Max scales your brand across channels to find more valuable conversions, 18% more across the board. Here's the problem with Performance Max, okay? Don't just go to Performance Max head over heels. You have to realize Performance Max, it is a very powerful Google Ads campaign type, arguably one of the most powerful for driving conversions. But the problem is, if you have any sort of organic traffic, you will notice that when you increase your Performance Max budget and don't have the proper setup as far as negating your brand, negating things that you're already are coming up organically for, you're going to spend a lot more money and show more conversions, but not necessarily increase your bottom line. So I uncover that instance in so many accounts, pretty much every single account, lead generation and e-commerce base that I encounter in my team encounters, that it's really worth mentioning again. Be wary of Performance Max and how you're separating that from your branding campaigns. And if you have any inquiries on that, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to further dive into specific examples and go over that too. So search strength, advertisers who improve RSA ad strength report excellency, an average of 9% more clicks and conversions. I do agree with that. You want to make your RSA or responsive search ad as robust as possible. Use as many headlines, descriptions, images, logos, site links, other what does Google call them now? Assets, not extensions. Use as many as possible. I 100% agree. I missed this one. Pair both Performance Max and Broad Match for a bigger impact. Broad Match, yes. Broad Match, you got to be careful with too. Like Google has gotten way better with Broad Match for sure. Like I used to have to put so many negative search terms if I was going to, or negative keywords if I was using Broad Match. Now I don't have to do that as much, which is good. But Broad Match, that's going to require more budget. Like if you're already tight on budget, that is not necessarily the most bottom of funnel strategy you can saturate and optimize first. So I'd be wary of Broad Match too, especially if you have budget and bidding constraints. So, okay, so we covered Performance Max here, search strength, app campaigns. I'm not really going to get into app campaigns. I mean, if you have an app and you're promoting an app, definitely use an app campaign. And what's the next one here? Generate demand. Activate full funnel strategy with the help of video reach and demand gen to drive more customers. So demand gen is the newer campaign type launched within the last 6 to 8 months or so, and beta tested before that. So it's going to serve on Shorts, InStream, Discover, and Gmail as far as those networks, which is great. The only thing I like demand gen. I like the concept of it. It's replacing discovery. In a sense, discovery campaigns. And the only thing I would make weary is that, okay, if you're using assets, if you're using all these, why is this not working? If you're using all these different placements, make sure you have ads that show up nice, clean, crisp, and have a good user function on those networks. Like that's number one, right? If you're going to post on Shorts and you're going to drive traffic via Shorts and get more demand, then you got to have a really nice, compelling short, like video vertical format that fits within the user function. You should A/B test. You should do a lot of research as far as pretending to be that user on each platform to make sure you know what kind of ads and what kind of things are coming their way so you can make the best type of ad. Like you have to do that sort of items. You can't just throw stuff at the wall and hopefully it's going to work. I think demand gen is great. I like the type of campaign that it is, but my biggest recommendation is to actually have assets that make sense for demand gen. And video reach, yeah, definitely use video if you can. The biggest problem that I see other businesses face is generating videos for the type of businesses that we have, right? And clean, professional, polished, like that's a big sticking point. If you have good videos and you have a good video editor and you can churn out video content like there's no tomorrow, definitely use video reach. I mean, YouTube ads, especially in the short form, oh, it's freaking great. What else we got? Enhanced conversion setup for GA4. Yes, definitely would recommend setting that up. That's included in the link. That's a no-brainer because you want to get as many conversion tracking implementations as you possibly can. Using customer match, like if you have data, that feed it back into Google. I know some people get a little weary because you're giving your data to Google, but honestly, with all the privacy restrictions that Google and Meta have been under as far as scrutiny and GA4 and Performance Max and the way we're changing things, it's definitely going to be more of a benefit than a drawback for using customer match. And this also is first-party data provides the foundation. Gather as much first-party data as you possibly can. This goes hand in hand with customer match. So, guys, that's pretty much it. A lot of the similar things that we've seen before. So, again, just be wary of Optiscore. Be wary of auto recommendations. Definitely use smart bidding. Performance Max, definitely, but you have to make sure it doesn't eat up your brand traffic. Make sure if you're going to do demand gen to optimize and get the right assets out that make sense. That's the biggest problem I see. And these bottom guys definitely utilize. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. David Feldman-Makrias. Bye-bye.